Hello, my name is Eric Elmendorf, and welcome to Stories from the View, a podcast from the Pleasant View Senior Center in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. On this podcast, we invite East Longmeadow residents to tell their stories about their lives and events. And today's guest is Chet Chin. And here is your host for this week, Ed Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Eric. Chet, good morning.
Good morning. It's nice
Good to see
here.
you.
Thank you. It's nice to be seen.
We see each other from time to time here at the Senior Center.
We do.
And there's three things that I'm interested in. I know you're very active on Facebook on the East Longmeadow page, giving advice and sometimes offering up kind of puzzles to be solved. You come here to the Fix It Clinic, which I don't know that much about, but maybe you could tell us about that. And I know that you are into woodworking. So, with that said, when did you first come to East Longmeadow?
I came to East Longmeadow 7 years ago. We bought a house on Summers Road. Ralph Nooney, who was well known in the area, his family had a hardware store, was ready to move it on. So, from Turner's Falls, we collected our stuff and moved to East Longmeadow. My wife is from this area. Her grandparents lived on Bryn Mawr. Yeah, it's just down the road. So for her, it was kind of like coming home. And I was done teaching, didn't have obligations to find another job. So it was an easy move to make to transition to East Longmeadow. And I like it here. Good. So the house is 100 years old. It was purchased through a Sears catalog, I think.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Well,
And
I've heard
it had-
about those houses.
Yeah, right.
It has the Redstone Foundation, I'm sure, from a local quarry.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And you're a handy guy, I guess, so that you...
There's a lot of things to fix on an older home. So, and, you know, we had to have the furnace fixed. It was an old steam boiler,
Okay.
oil, and we decided to switch to gas. Had it all gutted out and gotten rid of, and I love it. I love steam heat. Reminds me of my childhood. I didn't grow up in this area, but when I was a kid, we had a coal stove in the basement when we were kids, and we used to hang around it to stay warm. So we have these steam radiators that we can cozy up to warm our knees and bellies.
Yeah, steam heat it's so great. Yeah.
So what did you, as a teacher, what did you teach?
I taught, my first teaching job was in the Air Force. I taught parachutes, how to pack them and inspect them, repair, and that kind of thing.
An important job?
A very important job. I had good experiences doing that. In the Air Force, if you're an instructor, the rank comes pretty quickly because you always want to outrank your students, and that was good. I had 2 tours at Chanute Air Base. That's where the parachute school is. They've closed that since. And I spent a year in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War. I had 2 parachutes that saved 2 pilots. So I'm really happy about that. And you don't know how many of your students did the same thing. You don't know how many people got shot down and was saved by the parachutes. That was their last chance of survival. So that was pretty important.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Then when I got out of service, I went to get my old job back. I was an electrician, licensed. I got my license before I went into service, so when I got out, I'd be able to find a decent job. And the boss didn't take me back. And I said,
Wow.
the standard now is if you go in the military, there's a good chance you get your job back.
Yeah.
And he said, well, we don't have work, so we can't use you. I said, okay, that's the end of that. But I had my license, so I didn't have a problem finding other work. But right after my discussion, my brother called me up and he said, there's a school in Boston that needs an electrical teacher. I said, really? Okay. Don Bosco Tech. I stayed there for 3 years, teaching electricity in their lab.
And where was that? In Boston?
Right in downtown Boston.
Downtown Boston,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right behind the old Metropolitan Theater, if you're familiar with Boston. I grew up there, so
Okay.
I knew the area.
So you're a city boy.
I'm a city boy. Yeah, we didn't have trees on every block. We had sidewalks with cracks in them, you know.
Yeah.
We played games with a tennis ball and a bottle cap.
Right.
Right, hit the bottle cap, get it over the other person's line, you win. We had those kinds of games.
Now I come from Brooklyn.
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from there, I went to Jordan Marsh as an electrician. I was there 3 years, and I couldn't make enough money to feed the family. And I went down to Priest, and I said, I'm having trouble deciding whether I can stay here or not, because if I don't have more money, I can't afford to work here. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Chester, my son, it's not in our plans to give raises to lay faculty this year. I said, okay, see you later. Went right to Jordan Marsh. Had a great time there. Best blueberry muffins ever. So see that a lot. And after a few years there, while I was there taking classes to teach and so on, got certified, and a job opening came up in Franklin County. They needed an electrical teacher for a brand new school that they had just opened. Franklin County Technical School. Went in on a Sunday, Father's Day, talked to the superintendent, and he hired me on the spot. So he liked my teaching experience and my license and all of that. Plus being certified helped. 26 years.
Wow, nice.
I taught electricity, and I taught computer. I got certified to teach computers too. So that's what I did. Retired in 2004. I don't think they expected me to be around this long, the retirement board, but here I am. So following instructions with the docs. So that's my.
So let me, that kind of segues into the Fix-It Clinic. I mean, you are a handy guy. You do the woodwork, electrical. What's the Fix-It Clinic all about? What do you do?
The Fix-It Clinic is run by the health department. And it involves trying to keep stuff out of the landfill. So the trash recycling is pretty important to the town. And they called me up one day and asked if I would be interested. I said, sure. So what we do is we do a little advertising. We don't want to get swamped with too many things to fix. But if someone has an appliance that doesn't work, we've fixed a number of things, furniture, appliances. Somebody brought in a walker that had a loose wheel. Little things that we just try to keep them out of the landfill.
Yeah, I saw somebody in here with a lamp one time.
Oh, yeah. I've rewired a couple of lamps.
There we go.
Yep.
And it's here at the Senior Center.
It's right here at the Senior Center. Every couple of months, like I said, it runs through the health department. Liz Bone runs that. And I think she may be scheduling one for the spring. You'll hear more about that. So my involvement is because I taught electricity. I was constantly having students and parents and people in the community bring things into the school to be repaired. So I would make lessons out of them. So I'd take a kid aside who was all caught up in their work, and I say, look, here's a toaster. First step is visual inspection, put the meter on it, see if it's got a circuit through it, find out if it does or not, and look for physical damage as well. And if you see it, you'll probably be able to fix it.
Nice.
So we did everything, vacuum cleaners, toasters, toaster ovens. So I got some experience doing that. Because as an electrician, you use a lot of tools. You do a lot of assembly, disassembly, testing, and so on.
Sure.
So
So that makes me think of Facebook, because you are on Facebook on the East Long Meadow page, and I see quite often that people post something about a problem, a situation, frozen pipes, my heater isn't working, and you just kind of jump in there and give them some direction on what to do.
And very, very well written and specific directions too, with a lot of detail. Yeah, it's interesting.
It helps if you've been a teacher,
Yeah,
because you learn, if you do a lesson plan, you have an objective, you got steps and procedures, and sometimes I follow up with, well, did it work?
right.
You know, I wired and installed air conditioning and refrigeration and heating systems. So I'm familiar with the controls, how they work, and so on. So
One of the things I get a kick out of is sometimes you'll post a picture of something, and it's like,
Yeah,
does
and
anybody
what-
know what this is
Right.
used for?
What is this? Yeah.
my mystery gizmos.
Yeah.
Right. I just made one yesterday. Nobody's going to guess it, and I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, we can have an exclusive.
Yeah, I was going to
here
say
for you.
rats. What is?
Oh, okay. I'm making a device that you can stick on the end of an Allen wrench. It's got a hole through the center, and it's squared off so the end of the Allen wrench can fit inside the handle.
Okay.
So Allen wrenches, if you don't have a pair of pliers and it's really tough to turn something, so this gives you, it turns the Allen wrench into more of a screwdriver because it puts a handle on it.
Neat.
But I don't think anybody's going to guess that.
No,
We'll see.
we won't tell. Of course, the first thing you have to know is what an Allen wrench is. I'm not,
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Well, that's
I'm not a handy guy.
That's the kind of set screw that they put on a pulley to hold it on a motor shaft.
Okay. Let me make a note of that. Oh, so then there's the woodworking. I mean, I've been over to your house, to your garage, and I know you've got quite a setup there.
Most of the equipment that I have was donated to me.
Oh,
I've bought a few pieces of equipment, and I never touched a piece of wood till about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was an electrician and
Yeah,
computer
that- yeah.
person, and I thought, well, maybe I'll start making some stuff and see how that works. I've had fun with it. Most of the things that I make, I give away, and they make great gifts, things that you probably wouldn't find in a store. So they're kind of personalized. So if you get something like that, then that's handmade.
So
so this being radio, yeah.
yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
right.
How do you like that?
So if we can describe what
Yeah.
Chet did bring here today, is a piece of woodwork about 3 inches in diameter, and of American Sign Language, of hand, and underneath it, it says, "I love you." So that's what Chet created and brought to us today. Very nice, thank you.
You're very welcome. Happy to share it.
Yeah. So, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm very happy here in East Longmeadow. It's a very welcoming town. It has its issues. A lot of real nice people here. I come to the senior center. I've been coming not quite a year, and I find that all of my life I've learned from seniors, older people who have more wisdom than I have. I've always learned give them the respect. I come here for the breakfast, and I sit at a certain table, and the same people come to that table. So we have kind of like a little party, and we were a little disappointed that it got cut back a little bit, but it's coming back once a month. So this group of Table 7 meets at McDonald's on Mondays,
Oh, nice.
and we still get together, have our coffee and our little chat, and they're pretty good to us over there. There's a young man over there who runs the counter. His name is Kale. And one day I brought him one of my snowmen that I make. It's about 2 inches tall. And he said, "Oh, my fiance would love this." I said, "Great. Well, enjoy." So every time we go in there, he has it on a lanyard and he wears it as a pendant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And by being nice, you get niceness. That a word? You get niceness back. So while we're sitting there, this doesn't happen too often at a McDonald's, I'm sure. He comes over to our table and asks us, "Do we want a refill?"
Wow. Nice.
Very nice. So we enjoy that. And
What McDonald's is this?
so that's the one on Allen Street.
I was wondering. I went in there the other day for the first time, and it just had a good vibe to it. In fact, I noticed the fellow behind the counter was, very good with the people that came in. There seemed to be quite a few people who came in who knew him. Yeah.
He's very personable.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah. And I find, like, when I come to the senior center, if you give a smile, you get 5 back.
Yeah.
That's nice. So sharing the smiles, sharing the woodwork, I'm happy here. So I'm glad I moved here. My wife's grandparents, like I said earlier, lived here. So she wanted to come where her roots were. So
Okay.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Her grandparents.
her
Okay.
grandparents,
So she grew up where then? She was
Pine
in
Point.
What?
Was it Pine Point, Springfield?
Oh,
Yeah, she
Springfield.
went to all the schools there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I had a few things I thought I would mention.
Yeah, you said
Sure.
that you had a few items, yeah.
Oh, I told you about Ralph Nooney. Really nice guy. The house was on the market when we were looking, and it needed a few things, like a new furnace. You know. So they reduced the price, and I used to do metal detecting. I used to run a metal detector business, and because of my electrical knowledge, I knew how they worked, and I could demonstrate and all of that. And I took all of my findings, my rings and necklaces and a lot of gold and silver. I cashed them all in. They didn't have any sentimental value to me. They were things I found. Got several $1,000s that helped with the down payment.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a good thing. And then shortly after moving here, I discovered that East Longmeadow has a CERT team. That's a community emergency response team, and a medical reserve corps. And I joined both of them. So prior to moving to East Longmeadow, I was a coordinator for both of those teams in Franklin County. I had about 140 volunteers under me. So I joined that so I could offer my knowledge or help out where I could. And I would encourage anybody that's community-minded that when you know what hits the fan, there may be a need for volunteers to help with a shelter, a flu clinic, or something of a major disaster type thing. Here in Massachusetts, most of our problems are weather-related. So
It's a great organization. I actually belong to CERT in Westport, Connecticut, and I've only been here for about 3-4 years, and I'm still a member of Westport CERT. When I first came up here, I went to a CERT meeting. I don't know you. That's right. That's when I first met you, and yeah. So I think it's a great organization, and it's there to be supportive of the first responders in some fashion if something happens that they need help with.
right.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of opportunities with training to learn CPR.
CPR. Yeah.
Search and rescue if you're called upon.
Shelters. That's what we did a number of times in Westport. It was opened up there, the senior center, which became the community shelter when storms hit.
Yeah. And even here, with that severe weather, there could have been a need to open up warming shelters
Yeah.
and staffing. A lot of times, the towns will reach out to Red Cross, Salvation Army, and it's important to have those connections so you can help your community. That's what that's all about.
So if a person was interested in volunteering, and how would they go about getting started about that?
There are a couple of links on the town webpage,
Okay.
and all I have to do is go into the town webpage, type in CERT in the search thing, and information will come up.
Okay.
So I would
Thank you.
encourage anybody. A lot of seniors do that, but we've also had some young people who want to learn. So getting certified and being a medical person, a nurse or a doctor who has time that they can put into helping during an emergency. And then there are options. People can choose whether they want to be on call all the time or only when there's an emergency. There are a lot of options for people to volunteer. I mean, that's what it's all about. So helping the community. And I love doing that. I've done that almost all my life. As a teacher, we all know that not everybody comes from a well-to-do family. I went to a trade school, and when I came up to Franklin County in Western Mass, I discovered there are a lot of kids who aren't as well off as others. And I could tell if they slept down the river the night before, or if they had problems with an older family member or whatever. I used to keep food in my desk, because if I saw a kid come to school and he looked hungry and disheveled or whatever, I'd invite him into coffee and give him some lunch money.
Wow. Nice.
So, you get that back with gratitude.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I always had good attendance. I never had anything stolen out of my desk. Didn't have any vandalism in my shop areas. So I think it pays off when you respect your students, you get it back. So kind of like the smile thing, be kind, you get it back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I grew up in Boston, the Chinatown section. Our forestry was the Boston Common. we had a frog pond that was like 2.5 feet deep in the center where the big fountain was. We would wade in that up to our kneecaps. I have 2 kids. They're both in their 50s, Wendy and Gary. They're doing well. One's in California and one's in Greenfield. My son Gary is a musician, guitarist, keyboard, that kind of stuff. And in his teen years, like most kids, we were kind of drifting. He didn't want to be an electrician, and I didn't force him. So when he turned 18, I said, Gary, we need to do more together, because we're not. I'm in my 40s now. I said, so I want to play music with you. He says, Dad. I said, yeah, let's go up to Keene. There's a music shop up there. I'll buy some drums. I bought a set of drums. I bought a rhythm machine so I could learn how to play it.
Good for you.
I raced the machine, and one day I said, okay, Gary, it's time to play something. I had a little thing in the cellar where the drums were, so it wouldn't bother anybody. He says, okay, let's do Wipeout. I said, Wipeout? So my thing was swing.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 10 years, and when he moved out, I donated the drums to the tech school where I worked.
Oh my God.
Had a great time playing
Nice.
the drums. Every now and then, so I'm a music person. Love music. I always have.
I was just going to ask you if you've been tempted to go back to the drums.
I tap on the table a lot.
Okay.
And my feet are always going. I got into photography early, and I was shooting a wedding, and this person came up to me and said, "Why aren't you in a band?" I said, "What are you talking about?" "I'm taking pictures and my foot is the bass drum." I had to stop to get a good picture. So you don't forget that stuff. So every now and then I get the urge to play. But the only thing I have left to the drum set is the key to adjust the drum tension on the heads. So I don't think I'm going back there.
So what kind of photography do you do photography now, or?
I fool around with photography a little bit. I had a darkroom. I used to teach photography as an advisor. So back in the day, we had.
Ooh, you've done a lot.
Yeah, you had a dark room. Wow.
I had a darkroom at home, and I had a darkroom at the school.
Yeah.
So I used to teach the kids, how to take pictures and how to process the film, make enlargements, and that kind of thing. So I actually judged at the Franklin County Fair a couple of years. They asked me to do that.
Of course, now when you talk about a dark room, everybody's like, "What's that?"
It's a digital darkroom. It's Photoshop, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
There
right.
you go. There you go.
So I wanted to mention a little bit about Pleasant View Senior Center.
Yeah.
It's a great place. Like I said, you give a smile and you get 5 back. The volunteers are wonderful. I think the staff and the volunteers, they're friendly, compassionate, because you never know the story of the person sitting next to you having coffee with them. You never know that. So
That's right.
try to be kind and you get that back. As far as the woodworking goes, like I said, I never touched wood until about 5 years ago, and I usually don't charge for my stuff. But occasionally I do because the price of wood has gone up, and saw blades and sandpaper need to be replaced. So that kind of stuff. So I'm the new kid on the block.
Well, but you make buttons,
I do.
and signage and all this kind of stuff that you're into. How did you get into all that?
Well, when I was nearing the end of my teaching career, I thought I would need something to supplement the retirement income. So I did a lot of different things. And making the buttons was one of them. I got a good deal on a button press, and I still have it. So every now and then, if I feel like making a button, I thought I might have brought some with me. Did I? Yes, I did.
One of your
Chet's got a pocket full of stuff here.
I had to take the other car today, so.
there are a lot of keys on the table.
Who's getting lucky today?
Oh, there you
A
go.
lucky
You can have
button.
this one.
A lucky
Yeah.
button. I know. I got one from you. You were here for some event, and you had "Be Nice" buttons. I believe
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
kind, yeah. I've
Yeah.
got one.
Be kind. Be kind. Right.
Got one for.
Oh, be good.
To be good. Anybody want to
I don't
be
know if-
good? But
I don't think I want to be good. Let's
There's
see. What
another-
other choices do we have?
well,
here?
I have
As
one
Chet is
left.
handing
This is
out
the
buttons.
button
Oh,
for people who are hard of hearing, and sometimes it's just nice
Yeah.
to be able to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I love you."
Oh,
Yeah, I
see.
like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
the American Sign Language sign for love, or I love you.
So my
like that.
Diabetes sensor just fell off.
Oh my God.
It's an Agent Orange thing from the Vietnam War. I have diabetes and a heart condition. I take my meds. I get good service at the VA, contrary to what you hear a lot of discontent over. I'm compliant with my medications, and I'm going to be 79 in a couple of months.
Happy birthday.
Good for
Thank you.
I
And I
wouldn't
feel
have
good.
guessed that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. I've had to show my ID card.
Your ID card.
I don't get carded that much. So the new kid on the block is happy. Happy to be here. Happy to share stories and be helpful. That's my story.
Well, it's been wonderful hearing your stories, and look forward to seeing you the next time here at the Senior Center. Thank you very much for being here today, Chet.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be able to be here.
Yeah, and we'll see you on the forum, on the EL Trash
Yeah, sure.
forum on Facebook, and on the town forum as well. Yeah, it's always nice to see. There's a lot of positivity in what you post, and I think that it really does mean a lot to people who participate in those forums. You're like a star. Everybody knows who Chet Chin is because of your presence on Facebook. So thank you so much for coming in and being a part of this little thing here that we have going at the Senior Center. And yeah, so we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
And thank you for having me.
So that about wraps up this episode of Stories from the View. We'd like to thank Chet Chin for being here today. The Stories from the View podcast is available on LCAT 01028 channel on YouTube. If you have a story that you'd like to share on the program, you can contact Pleasant View Senior Center Director Aaron Kobler by stopping by the Senior Center. You can call Aaron at 413-525-5436, extension 1401, or send her an email at aaron.kobler@eastlongmeadowma.gov. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Stories from the View.